Hey everyone, it's me again, just talking about this journey of parenting that doesn't come with any rules. So, over the weekend, I would just looking at my adult children. Two of them are parents, and one of them, she's a bonus mom. So, just looking at how they parent, and I'm at the age that I can honestly sit down and talk to my adult children. Being a teenage mom, I had no clue. Back in the day, I couldn't ask my mom a whole lot of questions or sitting down communicating. No, didn't do that. Only if it was a need for communication. It was back in a time where we're not talking about that. Kids don't have an opinion, kids don't have a voice, or, why are we talking about that? If it was bothering you, yeah, kind of suck it up. It just wasn't come to the table and let's talk about it. Moving forward, my adult, let's bring it to the table. Whatever is bothering you, let's bring it to the table. So many of us parents, we were trying to figure it out ourselves. The thing about parenting, someone had to raise your mom. No clue of what trauma they had experienced. No clue of how they were being raised. Somebody had to raise your grandparents. No clue of how they were raised. One thing I will say, it is nothing like our children are being raised today. I can't even imagine. My grandmother, she was the big mama. Don't ask no question. Whatever I say goes. And that's how we going to deal with it. You don't have a voice. Voice about what? What are we talking about? No, we ain't doing that. So my mom, she pretty much trickled down. Sort of, kind of. She was not as open as I would say I am, but she was always available. I will say that. My grandmother, oh no, we ain't talking. What we talking about? You will listen. She had the floor, always had the floor. We not talking. Talking about what? Why you have a voice? Why do you need a voice? I didn't already spoke. You don't have nothing to talk about. Now my mom, she was somewhat like that over the years. She tended to figure out like, okay, this girl not gonna shut up. She wants to talk about it. So as I became a young mom, we would talk, because then I needed her. And I like to think my grandmother, she started to soften up because I need to talk. I need to talk about my feelings. I need to talk about life. I need somebody to process this with. And I'm not saying that I lived in a family that didn't talk, but they talked about what they wanted to talk about. Kids really didn't have a voice about their emotions. And so what I'm stating is, now I'm a young mom with adult children, I would say. I tend to, let's talk about it. Family meeting, put it on the table. We about to talk about this. What's going on? Because we don't talk about childhood trauma. And everybody have experienced childhood trauma. I don't care how you look at it. I'm not saying everybody have experienced something that has caused you to say, this is not right. This is not okay. So how do you process that as a child? Where are the tools? Who's going to share the tools with us? With them? Where are they? I didn't have the tools. I figured it out. I had good friends. We figured it out together. Was it the right way? Mm-mm. But guess what? We figured it out. Very grateful that we didn't cause too much harm to ourselves, to our family, to our kids. Yeah, I was a young mom trying to figure it out. But I had the tools of the adults in my family. They had the tools. They didn't talk about the tools, but they had the tools to help me navigate to my now. And now, since I have grown adult children, I am showing them there are so many tools available. And one of the tools is communicating. Let's talk about how that made you feel. Let's talk about your childhood. What do you see what I could have done different? Because I'm at the age that I can honestly say I was trying to figure this parent game out. No clue. My goal was to show myself that I can do it. Not be a burden on my parents because I chose to have my children at an early age, very early age. But guess what? They was never a burden. They was a blessing and a lesson. I will say that. I will definitely say that. They were a blessing and a lesson at the same time because they molded me. So here I am now, and I'm at the point that I can say, come to the table. Let's talk about it. What do you see that happened in your childhood that you would have changed different now since you guys are parents? And as adults, I would say as being a parent, we don't apologize to our children enough. And that's, once again, that's the childhood trauma. Because now we're leaving these kids to go out to these worlds, these young adults to go out to the world. Some of them just angry. They're angry because we didn't set that platform for communication. We didn't set it for them. Because we so gung-ho. You don't have a voice? What are we talking about? They do have a voice. Let them talk. Let them talk. Let them talk. If they was blessed with a voice, let their voice be heard. We want to silence them in the home, but send them out in the public to speak up. No. It starts at home, but respectful. I'm not saying they get a right to, oh, you didn't do this. We ain't talking about that. Bring it to the table. Because the goal is to provide the communicating tools respectfully. I used to tell my kids this. You can say anything you want to me, but it's how you say it. Wait a minute. Let me rewind. Because you're not going to, Mom, I think you a B or F. We ain't doing that. If my mom, may she rest in peace, if she ever heard me curse, I don't recall it. I don't recall it. My grandmother, I don't recall it. The people in my family, they might have. Because I do have a slick mouth. And when I get angry, I don't know. I'm learning. I'm still growing. But I do have a slick mouth. I think I was blessed with that by my grandmother because I have zero tolerance. But what I'm saying is, give our babies, no matter the age, the platform to communicate. If we can't bring it to the table and say, I apologize for what they view as trauma that they experienced growing up, that's not okay. Because it starts with us as parents. Once again, there are no rules to this game called parenting. No rules at all. But what I'm stating is set the platform to apologize. Set the platform to allow our children to come to us no matter the age and say, I remember this time and I was spanked and it wasn't even my fault. Back then, you probably was so upset about work or bills or life stressors. You just whooped everybody in the house. I'm not saying it happened. You put everybody on punishment in the house. I'm not saying it happened. But if it did, guess what? If they still remember it, it caused them some type of pain that they carried on into their adult life, their teenager life. So we have to, as adults, bring it to the table. We have to say, you know what? Let's talk about it. Because how they view things and how we comprehend things might be total different. But that don't mean it's wrong. That don't mean it's right. But hear them out. And say, guess what? If you apologize, if you take an accountability, ownership, that's something we lack as parents. We lack it. But guess what? We have to bring it down and say, you know what? I apologize how you view things, but that was not my intentions. That's a tool. Take ownership. Because that's what they need to go on in life. You know, my son, he grown. I forgot what the disagreement was about. But I had to come back and I had to tell him, I apologize. I'm sorry for what I said. But I didn't downplay it. I took accountability for my words. And we finished it and we hugged it, because guess what? Tomorrow's not promised. And words are so powerful. And if we leave with a bad word and we can't bring it back with a good word, your job is not done. And the thing about parenting, we don't know, because guess what? It's a domino effect. Our parents didn't give us the tools. Their parents didn't give us the tools. We breaking generational curses. It starts now. Our babies are going out into the streets and they trying to pick up the tools and they don't have a clue. But guess what? The internet is raising them. They trying to figure it out. They friends raising them, the streets raising them. They experimenting with drugs because the weight of the world. They trying to figure these things out. And guess what? We trying to figure out what our parents did wrong. Guess what? They didn't do nothing wrong. They did the best that they knew that they could with what they had. Some parents, they could have did a little bit more. Me and my husband, we sit and we have this talk all the time about the different ways we could have navigated this young parenting journey. Sorry, guys. But am I making excuses? Absolutely not. We were young parents, not given the tools, but our mental state now, we can see all our flaws. Absolutely. You know what? He can sit and he can tell me, yeah, you could have did this. And I could say, you know what? I don't know why we didn't do this. Why we didn't do this. I have no clue. Why didn't it even cross our mind? And guess what? Some of those situations cause pain. We had no clue, because it's bottled up pain. It's bottled up pain. But guess what? The tables are here, and we at the age where we can say, you know what? I apologize. I apologize. I tell my kids often. They laugh because they go down their childhood journey and they say, well, Mom, we didn't do this. And I say, hold up. You wasn't evicted. Your lights didn't get turned off. You always had food on the table. You did extra activities. I like to think they were fly at all times. They were very well kept. They experienced a lot. They laughed a lot. They made a lot of memories. But guess what? Looking at the next child and the next child, they doing this, they doing that. Our children, they compare. Parents, we compare our own parenting skills to our friends. Absolutely, our lives. And that's a weakness for us all. Because guess what? We use what we have to make it do what it do. Just as simple as that. But once again, parenting come with no rules. But we are bringing this childhood trauma to adult trauma. And, it's like a spider web attack. Oh, now you have now you have children involved, and they don't have the tools, and now they have children. Now their children don't have tools. A spider web. A spider web of, guess what? Life challenges. That's exactly what's going to happen. We have to start somewhere. If your grandmother is still alive, call her up. I wish my grandmother was here, because I will bring her to the table. Me and my friends, we were just talking about, if you can bring someone to the table in heaven or in the flesh, who would you bring to the table? And that was so refreshing to me, because it allowed me to know that this is real. Everybody have experienced some type of, I'm not going to say childhood trauma, but I'm going to say life trauma. And a lot of them happened when we were children. Yeah, they have. We didn't have the tools to let them out. But now we do. So call grandmother, call your auntie, call your uncle. Bring them to the round table, the square table, the glass table, whoever. Bring them to the table. Bring them to the table, y'all, because guess what? They impacted your parenting. They sure did. Because all of them parent you anyway. They sure did. Bring them to the table. Because guess what? We about to hold everybody accountable. And we about to apologize. And we about to take ownership for the pain we have caused. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Guess what? I have caused some pain. I have. And guess what? I apologize. But I'm only apologizing for what? My views. My views. And my truth. Because my intentions are never to cause pain to nobody. Parenting don't come with rules. Absolutely not. But guess what? Growth parenting comes with taking accountability. And a lot of us don't know how to do that. We were not given the tools. But guess what? We can sit up there and we can make all these excuses as to why we not having these roundabouts with big mama and auntie and a cousin and all this pain. It's still going there. Our family don't even talk no more. Our children don't have, they don't even know who their cousins are. They long lost aunties, because nobody is talking. Nobody's communicating, because nobody wants to take accountability for the pain that they have caused. No, bring them to the table. Bring them to the table. I had told, I don't know who he is, but I had asked him years ago. I say, you want to come to the table? We share my daughter. So I'm not going to say we share. But he's my daughter's, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to touch base on that. But I asked him, do you want to come to the table? Because where I'm at in my life, I can come to the table with anybody. Anybody. And I'm going to shut up. And I'm going to allow you to speak. And out of respect, I hope I can speak. Because there are so many different lenses of how I view things and how I comprehend things and how I respond to things, the same as the next person. But guess what? Everybody have a respectful voice. We can come to the table, but with respect. Because if you don't come to the table with respect and accountability, guess what? It's going to be all over the place, because nobody is sitting at my table disrespecting me. That's not going to happen. I said my mouth is slick. So nobody's coming to my table disrespectful. So I asked him, I said, hey, you want to come to the table? I said, because you're almost 50 and you're still holding on to some pain that I have caused. So you say. So let's talk about it. Let me see what you view. And I'm going to tell you how I viewed. And I'm going to tell you why I moved the way I moved 30 years ago. But let's talk about it. Come to the table. Come to the table. That's all I say. Because guess what? When you come to the table, I hope everybody leave with some peace and some clarity. Because you really don't know. People can assume, oh, why she parent this way or why she cursed it. You know, I was just at the water park this past weekend, right? And I saw this young lady, she tapped her baby. And I said, don't hear her no more. I done worked in children protective services way too long, right? So I said that as a laughter because that's her way of parenting. I don't know if the little girl ran off or whatever, but I don't place judgment on nobody parenting. I try not to. It might come out the wrong way, but I try not to place judgment because there's no rules to parenting. But guess what? If you are at the state in your life as a parent, co-parent, blended family, whatever, it's a lot of pain up in there. It's a lot of stories up in there. You have to bring it to the table. You have to be, if you have a voice, no matter the age. My nana's son is 4. I have 2 4-year-olds. Yeah, and they talk because we teach them they have voices. I have a granddaughter. She's 5. She talks a lot. But we teach them they have voices. Let's talk about your day. What did you do? What did you do at school? What was the most fun thing you did at school? Because if you don't have these simple conversations with these babies, when they grow up, they'll be afraid to have these harder conversations. No, we go talk. We go talk about, okay, what did Mr. Gray do? What did Mr. Johnson do? Mrs. Jones, what did she do? What did y'all eat? You know, we go talk about it. We have to build these foundations for our babies. Because if they don't have a safe platform, who are they going to talk to? Their friends, their streets? They're not going to tell us everything. But let's talk about these hard feelings. Let's talk about emotions. You know, I was just doing a little fun sheet with my grandson, and I was trying to help him comprehend emotions. Show me your angry face. Show me your sad face. Show me your happy face. Because guess what? I need to let them know it's okay to express. It's okay to express yourself. It's not go, oh, shut up. You don't have, no, they have voices. Watch your mouth, because they do. They do. My kids laugh all the time because I shut their parenting down because they do. They can talk. They sure can. Because we raise them, they can talk respectfully. Just like they were raised. Y'all can say what y'all want to say respectfully. Now, one thing about it, my kids are not grown and they yelling and they cursing. They ain't doing that. To who? No, not in my presence. I better not even hear about it. They grown, way grown, on their own. All 3 of them have their own address. But I bet not hear of them being disrespectful to an adult. We ain't doing that. Never was raised like that. They wasn't raised like that. And it's something I will never tolerate. Ever. Even when I'm not here, they know better. That's not acceptable. And that's how we raising our children, our babies. We are. But guess what? Respect goes a long way. And that's why parenting, we go bring it to the table. We go bring our babies to the tables, your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, whoever think you have caused some pain to them. Invite them to the table. You have to. You have to. Because guess what? Tomorrow's not promised. We on borrowed time, y'all. And when they gone, when we gone, that pain is still there. Life too short to be carrying around all that pain. We ain't doing that. Bring it to the table. Allow them to bring it to the table, though. We have to take accountability. You go cry, you go curse, but respectfully, though. Because that don't mean your view is correct. That don't mean it's wrong. I'm not saying that. But you also have to be respectful of the parents that you yelling at. You can't hear, you can't comprehend anything. Nothing's going to get accomplished but some more pain. Everybody going to be irritated if everybody yelling and cursing. We ain't doing that. We ain't doing that. I'm not nobody Ayana, not saying that. But one thing I do know, it's a lot of pain in this world created by a domino effect. My daddy didn't cause some pain. My mama didn't cause some pain. My grandmother didn't cause some pain. They no longer here. They no longer here. And guess what? I'm okay with that. Not really. But what am I do? What I'm going to do? Only thing I can do is take that as a lesson to say, you know what? Life too short. Bring it to the table. Parents, we have to set up this platform for how our children are viewing things. Let them know how you moved. Not saying that keeping a father out their life is correct. Not saying that. We have to end that, y'all. If these daddies want to be in these kids' life, let them. But make sure they want to be. Because you can't force nobody to be a parent. And everybody that birthed a child doesn't have the tools. Doesn't have the tools. And that's something we have to learn also. But if they truly, truly want to be in their baby's life, and they truly, we just hurting our kids. Because we have to remove our personal feelings out of the equation and allow these parents to become parents. The more people, I'm a firm believer, it takes a village to raise these kids. It does. I had a strong village. Strong. They don't make them like that no more. They don't. But guess what? The tools that I receive, I'm so grateful I'm a part of my kids' village, my grandkids' village, because it's needed. It's needed, y'all. But see, the thing about it is that village comes with a lot of personalities. Personality, parenting, and accountability. All that. It comes, it's like a domino effect. It just runs together. But the goal is just allowing this platform, this parenting platform, I should say. Open it up. We have to open it up. Let's remove some of these childhood traumas, these stories. Break them. Interrupt them. Don't let that be the end. Because if your child is across the world or a plane away or a car away, make that flight. Bring it to the table. No matter the coffee table, whatever table. Open it up. Go see your kid and say, you know what? Let's talk about it. Because some ain't right. Some ain't right. Let's talk about it. Some not right. We have to put down our egos. I did the best I could and blah, blah, blah. You probably could have. You probably did. I'm not saying you didn't. I know I thought I did. I did. But from a child's view, we don't know how they comprehended our best. And guess what? They have a voice. Why can't we accept their voice? Respectful voice, I keep saying this. Why can't we accept it? Why are we so willing to sweep everything up under the rug and say, you know what? It's done now. Ain't nothing I can do about it. The pain is still there. The pain's still there. It's not done. It's not done. The pain's still there, and guess what? It's a domino effect because now they having children. Now they dealing with the baby mamas and the baby daddies, and they don't have the tools to communicate. It's not done. We think it's done because guess what? Now that goes back to the big mama now. These kids don't have voices, but they do. They do. And we have to allow them to speak it. And that's something we're not doing. We're not providing this platform of parenting. And that's not okay, y'all. We have to book that flight. We have to make that trip. We have to call your kids and say, you know what? I feel like talking today. How are you feeling? How was your day? And I know some parents say, my kids don't call me. I ain't calling them. Two wrongs don't make a right. I remember when my father, was cell phones here? Maybe pagers, I don't know. But he didn't check in on me. No, he didn't. But guess what? I checked in on him. All the way into his last days. I sure did. I made his life decisions. I sure did. Because guess what? Bitterness is not cute. It's so bold within your heart. I was 23 when he passed. Didn't have a clue who he was. I wish I could ask him a whole bunch of things, because guess what? He probably didn't have a clue because he was trying to figure out his own life, you know? But the thing about it is, he's not here. So those answers, I'll never get. Closure, not there. So what do I do? Keep running around here bitter? No. I'm going to live my best life and continue to live my best life and try to figure things out. Why I navigate through this precious thing called life, you know? But I know so many children, including my own, they have questions. I have the answers. So I tell them all the time, whatever you want to ask me, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because my goal is to keep this parent platform open. And I hope a lot of parents, they ride the wave. They ride it. They have to. You guys have to. Get on this platform parenting. Set the platform to allow our children to talk about how they view us as parents. Especially if they're parents. And even if they're not parents, one day, let's pray that they become parents. And they take away everything that they received and remix it. And they become greater parents than they received. But it starts with us. Once again, I always say, parents just don't understand. We don't. We trying to figure it out. But guess what? There's a lot of blaming going on. We have to clear it up, y'all. It's a lot of blaming going on. You didn't do this and you didn't do that. But what about what I did do? What about the things I did do? And let's talk about why I couldn't do this because of that and because of this person, because of this. Put it out, dominoes, put it out. Let's set them all out. Because guess what? They probably wasn't even aware about it. Or why you moved or how you did this and why you did this. But guess what? Bring it to the table. Bring it to the table. They old enough to comprehend. They old enough to receive it. Bring it to the table respectfully. You respect them and they will respect you. Because guess what? We on borrowed time, y'all. Parenting platform. Bring it to the table.